Hello, everybody, and welcome to QATAR for the start of the. Wait, am I saying that wrong? What? Hang. Is it Quater or Quater? We're going to go with Qatar, and welcome to my coverage of the World Cup. As you can see, it is going to be extremely professional, so make sure you stay right to the end and check it out because you will not want to miss all these hot takes that I will be bringing you. And I'm sorry to spoil it all for you, but it is going to be a storming victory for the North Macedonians in this one. I can feel it. They are my country now, and I am going to go for the North Macedonians. Come on, let's bring it home. Right, scratch that. Just realised North Macedonia aren't in it, so I'm going to go back to supporting England. Yay! Come on, England! It's coming home and all that. Like it was supposed to in Russia in 2018, and I'm too cheap to buy a new fleece, even though this one was really cheap. But anyway, I digress. It's coming home for England, isn't it? Like it always does. Like we're always taken the piss out of by all the other countries because we continually sing a song that we've been singing for like 30 years now, and it still hasn't come home. But will it come home this time? Probably not. But let's go through it. Let's have a little look. I'm going to go through every single team in this World Cup, and I'm going to do a little tier ranker to see where I think each one of them are going to finish. Some of these ones are going to be bloody obvious, but there are going to be a few surprises in there as well. So make sure you check out right to the very end of this video. If you could hit like, if you could hit subscribe, that would help me out very, very much. And also comment down below who is your country and where you think they are going to finish as well. There are timestamps down below if you just want to jump ahead to see where I've ranked your country in particular or a country in particular. I know you probably don't want to sit through all 32, and I totally get that and understand it. So before we jump into it, it just leads me to say, who's excited for this World Cup? Yeah, I know. It's a bit weird it being in the middle of the season, and I know it's a bit weird about all the politics and the controversy, but just try to enjoy yourselves, okay? Let's go into it. Let's not waste any more time. Let's start with the first country, which is Argentina. And what a side to start with. The story is, of course, going to be about Lionel Messi and whether he can win a World Cup in what is probably going to be his final World Cup. This Argentina side looks really good. It looks harmonised. It looks like there's no infighting for once, and they look a very settled squad. They haven't lost a game like forever. 35 games. They're Copa America champions. Look, let's just not beat about the bush. They are absolutely in it to win it here in Qatar, and they are potential winners. Aussie, complete the rest yourself, are the next team. Australia make it again to a World Cup. They are ever present, but are they going to do anything? Realistically, probably not. It's going to be an Australian side full of a lot of hard work and energy like you'd usually expect, but they just don't really have any quality up the top of the pitch. That's where I really think this Australia side's going to fall down, and they're in a tough group along with the likes of France and Denmark. So realistically, I just don't see much other than 3 games and out for the Aussies, which quite honestly gives me quite a lot of joy to say. Ha ha ha! Get back to Australia, you. Belgium are next, and I should have a Belgian top, really. I had a North Macedonia one on earlier. I have Belgian family too. Belgian brethren, love you all. But this is surely, if it wasn't the last chance of the golden generation, it surely is now. They keep going with Roberto Martinez, but he's never really delivered that much for them. And they flattered to deceive really in the last Euros, really. A lot of it relies on how fit Lukaku is as being the guy that can score the goals for them. But of course, they have Kevin De Bruyne, who is undoubtedly one of the best players in the world. And as long as you've got him, you're capable of winning any game of football. At the back, they still look a bit creaky. They still look a lot old. And there's not a lot of amazing players, but they do have one of the best goalies in the world in Thibaut Courtois. I don't think this Belgium side is as great as it was, but I have a funny feeling that the way I've worked out this World Cup, that the draw's going to open up for them quite nicely, and I think they might find themselves going quite far. And because of that, this might be a shock to some, but I'm putting them in the potential winners category. 5 times champions, Brazil are next, looking for their 6th championship. They've been a bit lackluster in previous World Cups. Obviously, a lot of people think back to that time. They shouldn't really won it, but they got to the semi-final in their own backyard and got absolutely dumped by Germany. And that is probably the only thing that stands in Brazil's way, is how they're going to do against Western European opposition, which has been their Achilles heel in World Cup since the last time they've won it. They are an amazing side, and for me, they are heavy favourites to win this World Cup. Look at their side all the way through the spine. It's just amazing quality. They look a great side going forward. They've got an incredible defence. They've got a great goalkeeper in Alisson, and a lot of the times he doesn't really have much to do. But the only question marks are, they haven't really been tested too much in games, and they lie the only question marks of this Brazil side. But they look a very strong side, and along with Argentina, which I think could be a very mouth-watering semi-final between these two South American giants, I am putting Brazil as, of course, potential winners, and they are actually my favourite, along with the bookies, to win it. In Brazil's group are Cameroon, and the Indomitable Lions are still probably fondly remembered for their 1990 heroics of Roger Milla and all that lot. Who knocked them out in that tournament? Good old Gary Lineker in England, that's who. But yeah, look, they've got some good players. Choupo-Moting, Cambi, Boran Mbeumo are names that you'd all know, really. Choupo-Moting's doing a great job for Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga, and they have a very good goalkeeper as well. But defensively, I just don't think they're that strong. And also as well, they've been quite a difficult group with Brazil, Switzerland and Serbia. So I just don't really see them getting out of it. So it is going to be a group stage exit for the Cameroonians. Feast or famine at the moment, isn't it? You're either winning it or you're going out in the group stage. And we come to Canada. Oh, Canada. Qualifying for the tournament for the first time since 1986. They will find the step up in quality quite a stern test. But I don't expect the Canadians to just sit back and defend and try and fight for draws. I think they will go out and try and give it a go, and fair play for them to doing it. They may fall flat on their face, and I expect they'll probably go out in the group stage, but they've got Alphonso Davies, and he is an amazing player, so they do have a chance, but a slim one, and I see Canada, unfortunately, but they'll enjoy it going out in the groups. Next we come to Costa Rica, and Costa Rica are another side I don't think are going to do very well. And yeah, they're going to go out in the groups. They're just not a very exciting side. They don't score many goals. They don't concede many goals. So expect them to be a bit of a grind. And in a group with Spain and Germany, they don't really have much chance. It's a shame because they did still wow us back a long time ago now, 8 years. Where does the time go in the 2014 World Cup? But that is the end of the road for them, out in the group stages. Croatia remain a dangerous side, and they could do a lot better than what I'm putting them here. It all depends on where they finish in their group with Belgium. If they win that group, they could potentially be winners up there with Belgium, but I think they're going to come second, and therefore they're going to be in a much tougher half of the group, and I just think they're going to come unstuck in the last 16. I might be completely wrong with this because they are an excellent side, and I'll go into more of it when we talk about each group group by group in another video, but yeah, watch out for Croatia. I could be completely wrong on this, but I think they're going to go out in the last 16. Next we come to Denmark, and Denmark were excellent in Euro 2020, played in 2021, and they've continued their good form, really. They're one of the hardest sides to play against. All eyes will be on Eriksson after what happened to him in those European Championships. He's come back and been in tremendous form, and this side is very, very difficult to beat. And I have a funny feeling that they're going to cause upsets in this World Cup, and they're going to go quite far. And according to my logic, I'm going to have the Danes getting to the quarter-final, where unfortunately they're going to lose again. Spoilers. Ecuador's inclusion in this World Cup has all been a bit dodgy, with them fielding an eligible player, and should they have gone, should not they have gone, but they're there. They are in the World Cup, so they should enjoy it, because I don't think they're going to get any more than 3 games. I don't think they're a particularly great side. They're a bit of a side that's going for a bit of transition, trying to bring through some younger players, but the quality just isn't there for me, and I think they're going to be relying on just hard work and trying to keep the games tight. Don't expect them to be that enjoyable to watch, is Ecuador side. 3 and out for the Ecuadorians, back to South America with not much more than just a postcard to say they've been there. They're going out in the groups. We've arrived at England. Is it coming home? I don't know. We're going to keep saying it. It's going to, there's a lot of hysteria around this England side. It's a very good and talented England side. I have my reservations against the manager. I'm not a huge Southgate fan. However, he has done a very good job in tournaments and got us closer to winning something more than pretty much any other manager in the last goodness knows how many years, since 1966. And, you know, England have got the players. They've got the talent all the way through the squad. There's some questionable inclusions, but I don't expect Gareth Southgate to go out and be barnstorming and go and win it. I think he'll just do enough to get through. I have a feeling the draw's going to open up for them again, and it's going to be quite tidy. Call it England bias if you like. I have a feeling England are going to make it to the semis. France are next, and they are right up there with Argentina and Brazil as one of the favourites for this tournament. I might as well just put it in now that they're potential winners. It's silly to beat around the bush, really. They've got an incredibly talented side, an embarrassment of riches in defence, an embarrassment of riches up front, one of the best players in the world in Conte. They've got the player of the year in Karim Benzema as well, and with Griezmann up there too. They might miss Conte and Pogba in midfield, but I do think they've got able replacements to replace them. They're going to take some beating in this World Cup. It may be whether they have some infighting and just whether they turn up and be a bit lackluster, which sometimes happens with the French, but they certainly are potential winners. Stereotypically, Germany are very well organised. They're going to be a hard side to beat. I don't particularly think they've got an out-and-out goal scorer, and that could be their main Achilles heel. It feels like Hansi Flick is kind of building a team for a future tournament rather than this one, and I don't expect... Look, they're Germany, so they could go very well forward and win this tournament, but I just don't think they will. I think they're going to find themselves... They're in a tough group with Spain, and I think they're going to come second in it, and therefore I think they're going to go out in the second round like they did in Euro 2020. I think the Germans are going to go out in the last 16. What a shame. Next we have Ghana. Ghana are a pretty good side at the back, not such a great side going forward. A lot of their attacking flair is going to rely on the Ayew brothers and on Thomas Partey, but they do have the ability to keep games tight and nick the odd game here and there. So they may still fancy their chances of getting out of their group, but I don't think that they will. And unfortunately, it is going to be a group stage exit for the Black Stars. And you can kind of rinse and repeat that for Iran, really. I just think their best chances lie with their organisation. Carlos Queiroz is still their boss, and he's going to set them up to be very defensively strong, probably like a 4-1, 4-1. Try and keep the games tight, try and nick the odd goal, with Porto's Mehdi Taremi being the one man up front, probably going to be able to get those goals. However, I do think they're going to struggle, and I do think they're going to get off to a losing start, which is going to set them on the back foot, and therefore I think they're going to go out in the groups. If Japan were in another group, I'd have them getting out of it, but I just see the fact they're in there with Germany and they're in there with Spain, and I know Germany did balls it up in 2018, but I just don't see Japan being able to get out of it with those two European quality sides in there. They're going to be good. They're going to be a very good side to watch, actually. They're going to be organised, and they're going to set themselves up to be very defensively and to play on the counter-attack. They do have some exciting players going forward, like, for example, Daichi Kamada, who plays in the Bundesliga. And I wouldn't be entirely shocked if they did get out of the group, because they are a better side than what most people probably give them credit for. But I just think they didn't really get that lucky with a draw, and I do have them going out in the group stages. Mexico are normally a side that gets out of the groups. They normally get into the last 16 of the World Cup, and then they find themselves home. In fact, a lot of their World Cup campaigns tends to be them talking about, can we make it to the fifth game? Well, I don't even think they're going to make it to the fourth game this time around. Yes, that's another side I have going out in the group stages, and maybe you're going to be a little bit surprised by this one, but I just don't think Mexico have got the players to play the way the manager wants them to play. He wants them to play quite a high pressing game, quite a fast attacking game, and I just don't think they've got the players to do it. And I think they're going to be picked off by some other teams in their group. And unfortunately, a very poor World Cup for the Mexicans is going to end with them going out in the groups. Morocco are another side which haven't benefited from a difficult group. They've got Croatia and they've got Belgium in their group, which is going to make it very difficult for them to get out of it. The Atlas Lions qualified in some style, but they did have the luxury of playing the majority of their games at home. So we will see how they get on against better opposition. They haven't really been tested against better opposition as well. So it's very difficult to say they're going to rock up and beat a Belgian or beat a Croatia. I don't really think they're going to, and unfortunately it's going to be 3 games and out for them. They're going home in the groups. Netherlands are a very good side, but they're a side that aren't are going to be too favoured by the draw, really, more than anything else. They might want to come second in their group, which puts them on a more favourable path, like England in the second round, for example. But I just think they're going to win their group, and they're going to be in the side of the draw with Argentina and Brazil, and that's where they're going to come unstuck. Louis van Gaal is going to try and replicate what he did in 2014, make them very hard to beat, and rely, whilst in that World Cup they did have Van Persie to be like the leading light up front. They don't have a player quite of his quality. They still do have a lot of excellent players and a lot of technical skill, like you'd expect from most Dutch sides, and above all else, they're going to be difficult to score against. So I think they're going to be getting to the quarterfinals, and I think they're going to have a mouth-watering prospect against Brazil in the quarters. But unfortunately, they'll fall down there. But maybe they might beat them. Poland are a side that usually get to the World Cup full of promise, and they usually fall flat on their face. And unfortunately, I do think that's going to be the same against. Look, they have one of the best strikers in the world in Lewandowski, and they've always relied on him overly heavily to get the goals. They do have Milik, and they do have Piatek, who could also provide goals, but it's the rest of the team that I just don't think is that strong, and I just don't think it's going to be that good. And I think they're going to be found wanting once again in a World Cup, and I think once again they're going to find themselves going out in the group stages. Portugal, and like with Argentina, where the focus is going to be on Messi, the focus is of course going to be on Cristiano Ronaldo and whether he can win a World Cup in what is seemingly going to be his final one. While with Argentina, you get the feeling that the whole squad is quite harmonised around Messi. You get the feeling that with Portugal, they're kind of a bit scared of Ronaldo, and I sometimes wonder if they'd be better if he didn't play, as we're seeing like with the Manchester United side as well. He's amazing. He's one of the best footballers that's ever played, but is he a bit of a disruptive influence on this Portugal side? I have a feeling they're not going to win their group, and I have a feeling they're going to come up against Brazil in the second round. It should be a great game, but I don't think they're going to get any further. It's the last 16 for Portugal. As we've established, it's pronounced QATAR, and they are coming up next on my list. Look, what can you say about Qatar? They're going to have their work cut out in this World Cup. Look, World Cups are usually good when the host nations can get through, as we saw with the last World Cup where Russia did very well. I don't think this Qatar side is going to do that well. They're going to have to rely on keeping the games tight, and they're going to have to rely on nicking the odd goal and the home support carrying them through. I don't see it happening. They don't have a lot of quality, and unfortunately, it's going to be 3 games and out for the Qataris. Let's put them in there nice and properly. There we go. Saudi Arabia are next, and they are going to be my surprise package of this World Cup. They are going to surprise people, and they are going to get out of their group. They qualified for this World Cup with ease. There's a lot of people that are going to be underestimating them, but they're a side that's going to play with a lot of pace and a lot of attacking flair, especially from their fullbacks, and they've got a forward line that can certainly create problems as well. They're not going to sit back. They're going to take the game to the opposition, and I think that they are going to surprise a few. And I have Saudi Arabia actually coming through their group with Poland and Mexico being the sides that suffer. And they get to the last 16. Worth a bet, that. If you're going to... Worth a couple of quid on them getting out of the group. I think it's something like 7 or 8 to 1. Nice little nap for you. And finally, we get some joy for the African sides, as Senegal, I think, will make it into the last 16 of this World Cup. They're going to come through their group coming second behind the Netherlands, I think, and a lot of it is going to come down to whether Sadio Mane is fit or not. I think that he will be okay, and I think he's going to be the main talisman for scoring all their goals. They are AFCON champions. They're an incredibly hard side to beat. They don't concede many goals, and they've got one of the best goalies in Edouard Mendy as well. Their midfield is a bit weak, but when if they can keep the games tight and you've got a finisher like Mane up front, I think they're going to be certainly good enough to get through. They play England in the second round. I hope England can beat them. They might not. England might go a bit further if they get through. England aren't a side that Senegal should fear, but I do think that England would probably beat them. But I think Senegal will get to the last 16. And that brings me to Serbia. And Serbia, I like the look of this Serbian side. Obviously, they've got a main spearhead in their team in Mitrovic, who's been playing fantastically well for Fulham last season and carried it on to the Premier League this season as well. Tadic in behind him is a very talented, excellent player as well. But it's the balance of the side that's really good. They've got a good system of play. They play three at the back and they get a lot of pace through their wing backs. And they like to press, turn the ball over and counter-attack at pace as well. I think they're going to cause some problems in this World Cup. And I think they're going to get to the last 16. They could get further, but they're definitely going to get to the last 16. Another side that is very reliant on just their main talismanic player is South Korea, with Son Heung-min passing fit with I think it was a cheekbone injury, fractured eye socket or something like that. But they will need him, and they'll need him firing all cylinders. He is the leading light going forward, and it's probably their main strength, South Korea, is their attacking ability. I don't think they're very good at the back, so they'll have to outscore sides in a particularly Kevin Keegan style way. And Son's going to be the guy that leads them to it, really. I don't think they will, and I think they are going to go out in the groups. Brings me to Spain, and Spain should be one of the most exciting sides to watch at this World Cup, I would think. It's not going to be like what we saw under Del Bosque, where it's very much tick-tack, just dominate the game, suffocate the game. This is a very exciting Spain side. Luis Enrique will not change his game plan. It will be 4-3-3. It will be just trying to attack at pace, take risks wherever possible, and I expect this Spanish side to do very well. They're going to find themselves probably in a difficult side of the draw, because I think they're going to win their group. And again, if they finish second, they could get even further. I'm going to put them at the quarterfinals, but don't be surprised if they did get further, get to the semis. It's just the fact they might meet a Brazil or Argentina if they get there. So it's quarterfinals for the Spanish, but expect them to be very entertaining. Switzerland are a real enigma of a team. For a long time, they've been a lot better than the sum of their parts. They've relied a lot on Xhaka and Shaqiri to be the guys that kind of raise the level of everybody else, but they're not to be underestimated. But I just have a feeling that they are going to go out in the group stage, because I think Serbia are just going to be a bit better than them on this occasion. I might be well wrong on this one, because Switzerland often are a side that proves people wrong, but I think on this occasion they're going to go out in the groups. Tunisia are another South African side. Unfortunately, I have them going out in the groups as well. They could prove me wrong, as anybody could. They're a very adaptable side. They can play 4-3-3. They can play 4-5-1. They're quite good at, they can be enterprising when they want to. They can be quite defensive and difficult to beat when they want to as well. They've basically raided anybody that they could get with a dual nationality into their side. So they have a pretty decent squad with not necessarily superstars, but certainly effective. I don't really think they've got an amazing bunch of talent. But they got a chance of getting through, but I just don't see it behind France and Denmark, and therefore they go out in the groups. Uruguay are another side you just would like to avoid them. They're such a hard side to play against in any time you come up against them in a knockout tournament. They're going to be full of all the fight and grit you would usually expect from a side. A lot of dirty tactics from this South American outfit, no doubt about it. But they've got a very tenacious midfield, a good defence. Up front, they've still got the likes of Suarez and Cavani, but add in Valverde and Nunez in there as well. And they've got the potential to really beat anybody in this World Cup, I would say. And I think they're going to do all right. They're going to get to the quarterfinals in this World Cup. They will take some beating, but I have them going out at the quarterfinal stage. Right, these last two are the ones in England's group, and I really think it is going to be a toss of a coin. To start with, we have USA, 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 USA. Sorry, I get a bit carried away with that one there. The strength in the American side is in their wingers and in their wide areas. I don't think they have particular strength at centre-back or in the centre-forward positions, which makes it very difficult for me to really back them strongly. They've got some great players like Pulisic, like Gio Reyna, like Weston McKennie. They've got some good players that play in the European leagues as well. It's going to be a different American side from sides we've seen in the past that have been a bit kick and rush, a bit direct. I think they'll be a bit more creative in their quality that they have. And it really is a toss of a coin between USA and the Welsh. And I think USA are going to be the ones that nick through. I don't know why. I could well be wrong. But United States make it to the last 16. That leaves me to say, come at me, Wales fans. Wales are last and therefore least, and it is a good Wales side. And Rob Page, look, he's done an amazing job getting Wales there. Wales will be looking at this group thinking they can certainly get out of it. They've got to, just for the likes of Gareth Bale alone, he has lifted this Wales side up so many times by himself. Can he do it again? They'll be looking at that England game as one where they can cause a shock. Absolutely no doubt about it. They'll have no fear going into that game, and they'll have a better chance of getting points against England than I think USA or Iran will. That is for sure. With the likes of Aaron Ramsey, with the likes of Joe Allen in there as well, if he's fit, they've got an excellent side. They really, really do. Dan James will provide plenty of pace for this Wales side too. They're well organised. They're hard to beat, and I've really, if on all this evidence, I think you'd say, why have I not got them qualifying? I don't know. I just think USA will be slightly stronger from this Welsh side, and I just think that they're just going to go out in the group stage. I might well be wrong. They've proved us wrong in the past, and I've said that so many times. But I have Wales going out in the groups. And there we have it. There it is. That is what I think is going to happen in this World Cup. It looks a little bit lopsided on there, but there is 16 sides that have come through and 16 sides that are going out. And only one side, I think, that's going to get to the semis and go out. but it works out in my own little weird way. It is a bit dodgy, but I think you've got four. Maybe Belgium might be a bit of a stretch, but I think you've definitely got three potential winners in there in your Argentina, Brazil, and France. They are heavy favourites for a reason in this tournament, but I'm probably going to be way off the mark, and hopefully a good World Cup is built on a lot of shocks and surprises, and hopefully there'll be shocks and surprises in this one. Let me know your thoughts. It starts very soon, and all the talking will be done, and we can get into the desert and get this World Cup started. I'm looking forward to it, even though some people may not. And as always, hope you liked it. Hit like, hit subscribe, leave your comments down below. I'll be back with more World Cup video. And don't forget Oxford, their season continues. I'll be reviewing their games too. Come on, you Yellows, and come on, England. I'll see you soon.